Morning, Miss Tammy. How are you today? Tammy got her booster shot. She was not very well yesterday. Feeling a bit better.
A little bit of fever yesterday.
Yeah, you had a temperature of...
I had 100 yesterday.
Yeah, 100 and a sore arm.
Yeah. James got his shot the same time I did mine.
Strong like bull. No effect on me at all.
They gave him water. They gave me the real thing.
No, the vaccine, I just killed the vaccine the moment it entered my body. My immune system just crunched it immediately.
It's supposed to react.
Wiped it out. Yeah. It's like, you're not getting this old man down.
Nasty old germs.
That's right.
Body.
My germs are nastier than the COVID germs. They should just suck blood out of me and give it to people and everybody be cured. So here we go. Tito Saint. How often do people stud their males? New to breeding. Well, so I'd like to know what's possible. Well, this is actually, it's a good question because a lot of people, I think, probably stud their males out too much. And then I know I get people who call me up and say, hey, I need some semen right now because the semen I got from somebody else wasn't very good. And probably the reason is probably using it, too much. So the temptation here is you've got a really nice stud and everybody wants to use them and you want to book him up because you're making money and he gets overbooked. So what do we do? Well, the first thing I think you should ask is, when was he last used? That's what you should ask if you're using somebody's stud. You should ask the question, when was he last used? So what is reasonable in a stud? Well, it depends on the age of the stud, the size of his testes, and historically what he can produce. So I think that generally, the semen that's used today gets replenished about a week later. So the question is, what's he got for reserves? And I think the answer is 3 times in a week is probably about the point where something after that you're going to get a lesser sample if you try to do a 4th pull. So that's what we do. I mean, we've got enough studs that if we run into a situation, and it happens occasionally for whatever reason, where one of our studs semen's been pulled, we look at it and it's not up to par, we just call up the customer and say, hey, it's not quite what we like, can we move you to another stud? And when we do that, somebody gets the benefit of getting a more expensive stud for the same price. We don't do a bait and switch on them. So the question is, how much you do? When a dog's starting out, just getting going, I mean, 1 stud service a week after he's got going, and start ramping it up and look at his semen and see how it does. So the answer is there's no hard and fast rule that you can follow. You're going to have to see what your guy can cope with. Fang oxide, and this is an answer to Tammy. What Tammy said. Agreed. Poisonous snakes are not animals; they are demons.
I fully believe that.
Tammy agrees with you.
Don't like them.
I like the Australian brown snake personally.
Whatever.
That or a black mamba. I think they're some of the most poisonous snakes in the world. Okay.
Like I said, he's 8 years old.
Here's Susan Brocksmith about another conversation we had. Pros and cons to every animal. This world has enough cats in the world. Middle finger attitude. Oh dear. Dogs are unconditional love. I trained dogs for many years, and there are no bulletproof dogs due to who's on the other end. Well, that's true. And the bad breed stock. Shockingly came to train a golden retriever years back that rifle Cujo. Never saw anything like it. You know what? We ran into a similar situation. This is a long time ago. That somebody would wanted one of our labs, puppies. And they had a female lab, an adult female that they wanted to basically do a swap. And we looked at her and thought, well, okay, they look nice people, we'll do it. But she was
way strange.
Well, when we got her, she kind of growled a little bit. It's like, that's not lab like. She ended up being a Cujo dog. Only lab that I've ever seen like that.
She ripped up one of my favorite females.
Twice.
Labrador. And we took her in for stitches. And then she did it again to her, reopened the wound.
Yeah, that was it.
And I said, we're done. And we did not take that dog to the pound, let me tell you, because I did not want somebody adopting her with a child, because she could have done that to a child.
Right. Yep. So you know what we did. It was a sad day, but we did what we thought was the right thing. So anyway, there we go. G Lake French is asking a question I'm going to have a hard time answering. What causes a Frenchie bulldog water baby? Well, of course, what it is a dog that's got a lot of water and it looks bloated and just blowed up. I've never seen one in person. We've
No,
never had a water
I saw
baby.
pictures, and
Seen
I mean,
pictures?
it's not a.
I think the
Nice
right
picture.
treatment for this, if you want to try anything, is you give Lasix. You give Lasix and try and get them to pee that water off, just like you would with a human being. That's what you do as a treatment. What's caused it, I have no idea. I think it's a relatively rare thing. I don't know if it's one of those things, if you get it once, you might have it again. I just don't know.
I'd switch males.
Susan Clow, what vet do you use? Yes, you're absolutely right, exactly right. Yeah, I wouldn't, just because it might be some double recessive
Yeah.
funny thing, that'd be good advice.
Yeah, on
Absolutely
that
right.
female that had a water baby, do use a different male next time.
Yes, right.
And I bet it doesn't happen again.
Susan Clow, what vet do you use for C-section? Well, the other question would be how many water babies were there in the litter? Because if you had a lot of water babies in the litter, then I would get very concerned about this being an hereditary thing. Anyway, so Susan Clow, what vet do you use for C-sections?
Well, it depends on where they live.
Well, I'm not far, and I know you stated before the cost it was a ton cheaper than our normal vet here where I live. So let's talk about the vets that Tammy says no. Well, I'm going to give you one vet. I'm going to give you some vets that we haven't used.
He's on your videos.
Yeah, well, I know, but just someone's asked, so I'm going to give the information. It's not private. So if you live in Texas and you're close to the Oklahoma-Texas border around Dallas, then Durant Animal Hospital is a great place to go. It's Dr. Mills. Don't know him personally, but I've sent a lot of people there and had a lot of people give good reports on him. He's very available and his prices are very, very good. There is a clinic up northeast of Oklahoma City, no, we use them again, which is not Dewey County. What is it, Tammy? Do you remember? I forget the name of it now. Dr. Strickland was the person who had the clinic. Unfortunately, he died of COVID. So that was about a year ago, but the clinic started back up again. I've heard reports that it's not quite the same as it used to be, because different people running it, but I think their prices are still, very reasonable. And that is Wewoka. That's Wewoka Veterinary Hospital. Then other people that we use would be in Weatherford, Dr. Marilyn Wogamoth. We think she's fantastic.
Yep.
Then there's one at Arapahoe. That's called Arapahoe Veterinary Animal Hospital. They're very, very good, very, very professional. Dr. Thorne.
He's right between
Territory Medicine. He's just west of Weatherford. He's very good. Their prices are a little bit higher, but they're very, very good, and a lot less than what you see in other places. In Elk City, there's two places that we use, and that is Stockman's Veterinary Hospital. She's a younger girl, but she's very, very good, and we love her. She's very, very good. And then you've got Dr. Fox at.
What about Leanne and Bennett at Wheeler?
Yes, when we get there. Then you've got them. They are at Western Animal Hospital is Dr. Keith Fox. And then out in Wheeler, you've got Wheeler Veterinary, which is Ben Ed and Leanne Ed. Two vets.
Husband and wife team.
Yeah.
He's a country vet.
So they are very good, very thorough.
But if you do your own research, you're going to find your vet.
Yeah.
The questions to ask.
Yeah, but let me finish up here.
C-sections and
Ben Ed. So Ben Ed is a little hard to get hold of. They do a lot of basically charity work for Boy Scouts and stuff like that. So he gets tied up with that.
Tied up with the cattle.
So any of these people, you can't just show up on their doorstep. You need to let them know what you're going to do. But all of those people are people that we recommend as being reliable and inexpensive to middle range prices, and probably a lot less than what you'd pay in somewhere like Dallas.
In your big cities.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Patty cakes. I like your name, Patty cakes. Patty cake, baker's man. Bake me a cake as fast as you can. Can you finish it off?
Yeah.
You can't finish it off. Can you?
No.
Anyway, Patty Cake says, why is it every time my dog goes to have a progesterone test, levels tested, they make me get an x-ray, so I end up spending $300 per visit for a progesterone
Tell
check.
them no.
That's right. That's right.
You can tell them no.
You said, I don't want an x-ray. I don't want an x-ray.
Yeah, you don't have to have an
And if they say
x-ray.
you got to have an x-ray, and they say why?
Crap.
Why?
It's
And
money in their pocket.
and if they say, well, we want an x-ray for the first time to find out how many puppies she's got.
No.
No, I don't think that's particularly valid. But look,
You have a C-section.
you or the person with the checkbook. Doesn't mean you should have a fight with your vet, but you can just
You own the dog.
you can just politely say, I don't think I need an X-ray today, but thank you very much. And if they say, well, you have to have an X-ray, then I'd say, well, okay, let me see what I'm going to do and go somewhere else.
Yeah, go
I mean,
somewhere else.
you know, it's totally unnecessary to have multiple X-rays, and I think it's unnecessary to even have one X-ray if you're going to have a C-section with a dog that you know is pregnant. If you've got a dog that you don't know that's pregnant, and
Sometimes people are excited to see how many they got.
absolutely, you
But,
betcha.
I mean, you know, you're having a C-section, you're going to know exactly.
But I treat it like Christmas. You don't X-ray your Christmas presents before days before Christmas. The only thing you don't want to open a present up and find it's empty, right? That would be a bummer at Christmas. It's also a bummer for a C-section. So if you have a dog that you're not sure that it's pregnant, but you bred it, but he's not showing any signs, absolutely do an X-ray 3-4 days out. And if you're having a live birth,
well, don't do any X-rays until they're 30 days.
well, no, you can't do an
Plus.
X-ray at 30 days. You've got to do an X-ray at 50 days because
Yeah.
it's not calcified.
Oh, okay.
But the point here is we've been in this situation before. I mean, I had one time where I went to the vet with a dog that we didn't think was pregnant, and the vet palpitated the dog. It was actually Dr. Keith. And he says, no, James, there's a puppy in there. And I'm like, are you sure? And he says, there's one way to find out. Do an X-ray. And we did an X-ray, and guess what? He was right. So good for him, bad for me.
It's a long time ago.
A long time ago, right? But so if you are, in my opinion, mistakenly thinking that you're going to have a natural whelp from a Frenchie, then absolutely do an X-ray a few days out to find out how many puppies and whether there's a big puppy in there. Because you just don't know. You can have one big puppy in there that's just absolutely going to gum the works up and end up with a
You
disaster.
can lose your female.
Oh, yeah,
So it's not
absolutely.
worth it. It's not worth to go. I'd rather do a C-section any old time.
Here we go, Darcy Robinson. I don't care for cats. Never have. Every
Okay.
once in a while I
Each
meet
his
one
own.
that's cool. I've always loved dogs, but I grew up with healers and they were mean to strangers. I didn't like them. I had a Jack Russell female and was really mean to everyone too. Can't go wrong with a golden. Yep. Can't call on Frenchies. I've never had one, but I appreciate your channel and that you're willing to share knowledge. Well, you're right here about dogs, aren't you? There's such, Tammy, give me some dogs that you are cautious about.
Oh, I used to groom dogs
Yeah, so you know.
for about 7 years.
Yes, right.
And
So tell us about it.
so anyway, chows weren't my favorite. They're unpredictable.
Right. I would have a chow around a baby or a
And
small child.
That's the only ones that ever actually bit me and left a scar was a chow.
So I'm going to weigh in on this.
Oh, now a Cocker Spaniel one time, I happened to have the noose around her neck as I was doing her, and she went to lunge at me at my face, and I was like, I leaned way back. That was a scary day.
So for me, part of this is
But that doesn't mean every
No,
dog
no.
acts like
Well,
that.
I mean, there's
It's
dogs
just-
like
those
Doberman
were the ones I was
Pinschers,
always cautious about.
they're big breed dogs that people get cautious of. German Shepherds, Rottweilers. But I mean, there's people who got Rottweilers and swear you could take a baseball bat to them, beat them up, they wouldn't do anything. And we've got a German Shepherd, and she was
She loved everybody. She just didn't like other females.
right, dogs.
Dogs.
So she was a bit of a loose cannon later on in life because of that.
Yeah.
She's ended up on a farm because of that, actually.
Yeah.
So we were worried because a lot of people come visit us, and we didn't want a Frenchie to go up there and say hi and
Yeah.
get drugged through the yeah. So
Let me tell you, she was a guard dog for sure.
oh yeah. So I say this. I've never been around a Frenchie that I was worried about. Now I did breed a Frenchie one time that was having no part of it and ended up nipping me on the finger. Not hard
That's the
to break.
first Frenchie that ever.
First one, but I was messing around with her. She wasn't having any of it, and she went ballistic to start with. So she warned me that I was doing stuff that was inappropriate, and then she turned around and she bit me on the meaty part of the thumb. So it wasn't too serious. I ended up having the customer hold it while I did the AI, and it was all fine. I think that Frenchies, Labradors, Golden Retrievers, Golden Doodles,
Oh, doodles are.
Saint Bernards, Bernese Mountain Dogs. These are all bulletproof dogs. Chihuahuas that have been around little old ladies and nobody else, they can be little nippers. So there we go. We're
I
back to
think
the,
that has a lot to do with teaching them when they're young.
so we weighed in last time about cats, and here's a few responses. So weigh in about which breeds you do and don't like. I'd like to hear what people think. It's 15 minutes. I think that's long enough. Wasting time. Not much about dogs on.
Call me about my babies.
Yes.
580-799-1910 for fluffy carriers and testable chocolates.
All right. Bye, buddy. Have a good weekend. See you. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.